Hello, I'm Swami Saradananda, and I'm the author of the book Mudras for Modern Life. And I also put together the Mudras for Modern Living card set. And now I'd like to invite you to this Mudras course, which I hope will help you intensify your practice. And let's begin with a mudra that I think many of you know. Namaste. So bring your hands together and let's chant Om 3 times. Om. Om. So, namaste, the word comes from the verb nama, mean to salute. So when I join my hands together, what I'm saying is the divine essence in me greets the divine essence in you, and actually we're one and the same. I know many people call this Anjali, but more properly this is Anjali. Traditionally, this is how people in India would say their prayers. They would get up early before the sun comes up, it's a hot country, and they would go to the nearby stream, have their bath, and then as the sun was coming up, they would face towards the rising sun, take water in their hands, and say their prayers. It's a very famous story about Anjali. One morning, a woman named Gonika was saying her prayers, and suddenly, Pat means fell. Pat, Anjali, fell into Anjali, a small snake, and she took him home, raised him as her son. And if you know anything about yoga, you've probably heard of Patanjali, who was the compiler of the Yoga Sutra. Now, of course, in Indian tradition, snakes symbolize wisdom, earth energy, rebirth, because the snake throws off its skin. So it's a very positive symbolism. Now, when we use mudras, we're tuning to the fact that our bodies are walking antennas. We're constantly giving out energy, and we're constantly taking in energy. We all use our hands to give energy without realizing it. If you bang your knee or your elbow, what you're going to do instantly is and rub it. Anytime anything hurts, you're going to rub it. This is instinct. If your child is sick, you're going to give him some energy. If your friend is going through a difficult time, you'll pat her shoulder, give her some energy. So we all use our hands for giving and receiving energy. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, they say that most of the major meridians either start or finish in the hands or the feet. When you join the fingers in different ways, what you're doing is you're changing the flow of energy. It's like you're joining different wires. See, this is the concept between mudras. The word actually means seal. You're sealing the energy into different channel. You want to create a particular flow of energy. Now, we do this in yoga. We use mudras. In meditation, in many martial arts, use mudras. Of course, in Indian dance. And we all use gestures to express ourselves and express our feelings. Right? And we have many gestures. Shh. What? If it's Churchill, of course, it means victory. John Lennon, it means peace. If I like something, right? Coming from the ancient Roman times, where people voted with their thumb, right? Gladiators would fight, one person won, and then you'd vote. Let him live? No. Kill him. So we still vote with our thumbs. If we like something, or we really like something. Right? Then, of course, there's this gesture, which many of you might recognize. Live long and prosper. Which is actually a real mudra. Leonard Nimoy, who played Mr. Spock, actually studied Kabbalah. And in Kabbalah, it's done like this. You see, so if you look at your hands, they look vaguely like a W, but it actually symbolizes the Hebrew letter Shin, standing for Shaddai, Almighty God. So in ancient times in the temple in Jerusalem, this is how the priests would bless people. And it was so holy, they would actually put a cloth over their hands, and then they would hold it over people's heads and bless them. And this is still used in some churches. If you go to the Anthroposophist Church of Rudolf Steiner, they still use this mudra. We have mudras in all traditions. The Pope, he blesses like this. You see? So he's got his index and middle finger are up, the ring and the little finger are almost touching the thumb. So he stands up on that balcony in St. Peter's Square and he blesses people using this mudra. Not only the Pope, but you'll notice that most saints in Christian tradition and Jesus usually has his hand in this mudra. Even baby Jesus, he has his hand in this mudra. It's called blessing mudra. So Jesus blesses like this, but Buddha blesses like this. This is called Abhaya mudra. Bhaya means fear. When we put the A in front of it, it means the opposite. Don't be afraid. If your child is frightened, you say, don't worry, I take care. Don't be afraid. This is what Buddha is telling us. Don't worry, I take care. And actually, let me just move back a bit. Usually, Buddha will have one hand like this, and then the other hand with the fingers pointing down. So this is called Bu Mudra. With the fingers pointing down towards the earth, he's taking the energy from the earth, and then he's giving us that energy. Or sometimes his hand will be the other way. You see, so when the palm is outward, he's saying, whatever mistake you made, I forgive you. Don't be afraid. I forgive you. So mudras express things, they express things symbolically, but they also realistically channel the energy in different ways. Now, I'd like to end this first introductory class with a little bit of an experiment. And before we begin, I'd like you all to take 2 or 3 very deep breaths, deepest breaths you can take. And now bring your hands out to the side so you've got your elbows bent and your palms are facing forward. And what you're going to do is, as you inhale, you're going to stretch your fingers as wide apart as you can. And as you exhale, you're going to very gently close the hands into a fist. Very gentle fist. It doesn't have to be tight. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, stretch your fingers as wide apart as you can. And exhale. Inhale, notice the farther apart you stretch your fingers, more deeply you can breathe. And exhale. Okay, now drop your hands. And we're going to try another small experiment. So take your hands and join the index finger with the thumb. We call this Chin Mudra. And you're going to bring your hands onto your knees or onto your thighs. And again, you're going to take a few deep breaths. But you're going to try and breathe with the diaphragm, with the abdomen. Breathe as deeply as you can. And now take the hands, keep the index finger and thumb together, but bring the other 3 fingers into the palm. And again, rest the back of the hands on the thighs. This is called Chinmaya Mudra. And breathe as deeply as possible. And you'll notice that now, instead of breathing with the abdomen, you tend to breathe with the ribs. It's easier to breathe with the ribs. And now take your hands and very gently bring the thumbs into the palm and the other fingers around the thumb, and rest the hands on the knees. And again, try to take a few deep breaths, but you'll notice the breath is coming higher. This is called Adi Mudra. So it's the first mudra that a child makes. So the position of your hands, how the energy is channeled, affects your breathing. And we'll be going into this in more detail in our upcoming course. Thank you. Namaste. In September, I'll be teaching a 5-week course of Mudras for Modern Life. I hope to see you in the course. And if you have any questions, please be in touch. Om Shanti.